Number one Ibble Dibble here. Welcome to my review of Tom Bower's Revenge. On their return to Los Angeles, the couple lived in a small house off Sunset Boulevard. For anyone curious, this is the house. It's a freestanding 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a garden. Last sold in 2019 for $1.8 million. I checked the property records. They were just renters. Although it looks like a bit of an upgrade from their old house, it's actually not. It's just more of a bang for your buck neighborhood. You can still rent a property like this in that neighborhood for $7,000, $7,500 a month. Meghan celebrated the good news that American Network, Bauer gets this wrong, it's called the USA Network, had commissioned a second series. To celebrate, she bought a 4,800-pound Cartier watch. On the back was engraved 2mm from MM. For anyone curious, this is the Cartier Tank Française. It comes in, I don't know, 1,000 iterations, but hers looks like the size medium, stainless, and gold. If you want to buy it today at a Cartier boutique, it will run you $6,450. Engraving and delivery are free. Sometime after she married Harry, she upgraded to the same watch, but with a fully 18-karat gold case and band. If you want to buy that today at Cartier, it will be $24,300. Do you think Meghan upgraded herself because she loves to layer run-of-the-mill gold Cartier retail pieces? Or do you think Harry upgraded her because he's a terrible gift giver? Let me know in the comments below. Introducing herself as Megan Engelson, she returned to Toronto to film the second season of Suits. Regularly, Trevor arrived from Los Angeles to work from her house. Liberated by her financial security, Meghan began to identify with her character, Rachel Zane. Wearing Tom Ford pencil skirts, speaking about contracts and clients, she was becoming like Zane, an empowered, sassy, professional woman. Inevitably, her relationship with Trevor began to change. Toronto is not a large community. Unlike in Los Angeles, Meghan was a noticed fish in a small pond. For the first time, she had status. She began to make new friends. One was Jessica Mulroney, an aspiring fashion stylist, whom she met in a fitness studio. Jessica's husband, Ben, was not only famous as a TV host, but as the son of a former Canadian Prime Minister, Brian Mulroney, a pillar of Canada's establishment. Naturally, Jessica was also a friend of Sophie Grégoire Trudeau, the wife of Justin Trudeau, whose father Pierre had been Canada's Prime Minister for 4 years. As a leading parliamentary member of Canada's Liberal Party, Justin was tipped to become Prime Minister. Added to that, there was Marcus Anderson, a Canadian businessman who had just returned from London to open a Toronto branch of Soho House, a members club for the city's socially ambitious fashionistas. The combination of life on the film set, occasional recognition on the street in Toronto, and her new social life with Canada's dynastic families changed Meghan. She was mixing with an elite. Compared to her financially strapped struggle in Los Angeles and a loudmouth husband unable to deliver fame, her new life in Toronto was what she had always dreamed of. So, Meghan's social networking in Canada really launched her into the sphere where she could even get an introduction to someone like Harry. The fitness studio membership was key. One place you are guaranteed to meet trophy wives is an overpriced Pilates studio anywhere in the world. Another key, of course, was Soho House membership. There's a lot of confusion over exactly how exclusive Soho House is. Financially, it's more than a university club, but less than a country club. Pricing varies slightly internationally and is lower if you're under 27, since they want to make sure they always have enough Instagram baddies for rich old men to gawk at. But it's around a $1,000 entry fee and $4,000 a year for membership wherever you are. Socially, what they're looking for is good-looking, rich, and discreet. The less rich you are, the better looking or more famous you have to be, but not too famous. People who are too famous, like Kim Kardashian and Britney Spears, get rejected because there's a no photos policy, and the club does not want its members or their activities put on blast. The original concept was to provide a young, artsy, edgy alternative to the old boys clubs, something like a competitor to Lulu's. a place where people of some prominence could party without getting photographed or approached by the hoi polloi or having their messier moments shared on social media. Also, it's not a place where you can waste any time socializing with average Joes who can't reciprocate social or professional favors. You can be too old or boring to join in, and they tend to screen people by home address. If you live in a cool, exclusive neighborhood and have a private Instagram account that unlocks to show vacations in St. Bart's and Seoul, you're a lot more likely to get in than if you live in the suburbs and have a public Instagram account of kind of tacky restaurants and family parties. Launching a new Instagram account on the 24th of May 2012, she introduced herself with images of Forbes magazine, plus Rachel Maddow's Drift, a book describing the balance of power between America's politicians and the military, and pages from her Suits script. What's your impression when actors and models post stuff like this to Instagram? I'm probably a terrible person, but my initial reaction is usually, stop trying to look smart. Forbes is behind the times, pay for play, and posting your script is admitting no one really watches your show or knows who you are. Drift, by the way, is actually a really good book that remains relevant today, though it's 10 years old now. Rachel Maddow is fairly characterized as a far-left media figure, but the book is actually not political at all. It's a historical essay that frequently quotes the Founding Fathers, and I believe it would be very interesting for constitutional conservatives and libertarians to read. I think it may also be of significant interest to anyone who's not American and trying to understand the Team America World Police thing. Here's the opening snippet.
Of all the enemies to public liberty, war is perhaps the most to be dreaded, because it comprises and develops the germ of every other. War is the parent of armies. From these proceed debts and taxes, and armies and debts and taxes are the known instruments for bringing the many under the domination of the few. In war, too, the discretionary power of the executive is extended. Its influence in dealing out offices, honors, and emoluments is multiplied, and all the means of seducing the minds are added to those of subduing the force of the people. The same malignant aspect in republicanism may be traced in the inequality of fortunes and the opportunities of fraud growing out of a state of war, and in the degeneracy of manners and of morals engendered by both. No nation could reserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare. Those truths are well established. They are read in every page which records the progression from a less arbitrary to a more arbitrary government, or the transition from a popular government to an aristocracy or a monarchy. James Madison, Political Observations, April 20th, 1795.
The question is, did Meghan read it, and does she care? Much is made of the Duchess's feared political intentions, but, as with her charity work, I believe she enjoys posturing and is willing to do a little homework to target the right person in conversation and try to impress them. But she has no true aspirations to change the world, just to be rich and self-righteous. I think the sole point of this post was to show Justin Trudeau she bought the book he recommended, because that's a great cold opener with anyone you don't know well but assume is either smart or well-informed. What's the last good book you read? I need something for my flight to Turkey, for example. On her return trips to Los Angeles to live with Trevor, Meghan realized that her future in Hollywood was bleak. In the world of paparazzi, parties, and producers, she was still unknown and excluded. Trevor faced the same fate. He was a good man, unrecognized and unknown, going nowhere. In Hollywood, they would neither be famous nor rich. Impatient, she began to chase an achievable dream. There's Meghan before fame and Meghan after fame, summed up pretty. Unapologetically, Meghan started canceling lunches with her old Los Angeles friend at the last moment, explaining how she feared that she would be recognized. Pretty felt a new coolness. The tone of her voice, her mannerisms, the way she laughed, didn't seem real anymore. Her time became increasingly important. Pretty felt awkward. We began to talk less. I felt if I questioned her behavior, I'd be left on the outside. Meghan had changed. She had become sharp, clear, even cruel. More than ever, her emotions were concealed. At 31, under pressure from Trevor, Meghan was thinking of children. He wanted them. She did not. Instead, she searched for a dog, as she wrote, to keep me company in Toronto. In December 2012, she headed for Spot Rescue, a pet adoption agency in Los Angeles offering rescued dogs. She chose Bogart, a 6-week-old yellow lab mix. But there was a problem. The same dog had been chosen by someone else. To beat her competitor, Meghan recruited Pretty and other friends to bombard the agency in an email chain in her support. The dog, wrote Meghan, was guaranteed happiness in the Suits family. I felt she had developed a sense of entitlement because she was on the show, recalled Pretty. It left a sour taste in my mouth. Several days later, Meghan recorded her success on Instagram. Posting a photo of herself holding Bogart, she thanked the American daytime TV talk show host Ellen DeGeneres for sending her to the agency. "You told me to adopt this sweet pup yesterday, and I'm so happy I did. Thanks a million." Dropping names on Instagram, Meghan realized, boosted her importance. The saga of Bogart could truly be a video of its own. First, let me concur with Nanaki Pretty that it's disgusting to abuse your clout to compete for a rescue dog. The thing with dogs in need is there are always more of them. If the rescue calls to say there's been a mistake and yours was already reserved, the solution is to choose another dog, not harass them with emails demonstrating you, a semi-famous person, have the platform to badmouth them should they not give in. Another option, if, for example, your 8-year-old can't fathom going home with a different dog, and you don't have the time or heart to teach them a lesson, would be to make a very generous donation to the rescue in exchange for them placing the very same call to the person who actually qualified first to adopt the dog and not tell anyone. But we know Meghan is too cheap to ever actually donate more than the bare minimum to a charity. The second Bogart drama was when Meghan left the dog in Canada, supposedly with friends, to move in with Harry at Nottingham Cottage, but the dog was never seen nor heard from again. I should think that if any of Meghan's more famous pals had taken the dog, she wouldn't hesitate to tell the world he was living with them in order to make herself seem more closely connected to Justin Trudeau or the Mulroneys or a cast member of Suits, for example. Same with the lesser professionals she worked with. They would add to their own clout as a hairdresser, makeup artist, or what have you, if they posted that Bogart was now theirs, thus associating themselves more closely with a future member of the royal family. Her former dog walker in Canada, who happens to be Irish, gave an interview after moving back to Ireland, saying she doesn't know what happened to Bogart. Bogart's biological brother was adopted by a Brit living in LA, who was never contacted about caring for the dog, though they had met for playdates several times. Meghan's actual family, including Thomas, Doria, even Trevor, clearly don't have Bogart. So where is he? Did she really give him to such quiet friends? I don't think so. I think she either left him with a rescue organization that accepted a large donation in exchange for signing a bulletproof NDA, or, God forbid, she put the dog down. What do you think? The Bogart incident is also the first of the now many times US talk show host Ellen DeGeneres has humiliated Meghan, because Ellen is also a nasty narcissist who needs to flex on celebrities and dominate them whenever possible. During her knockdown, drag-out, passive aggression special, Ellen brought up the subject, reiterated that she didn't know Meghan from Adam, and when Meghan tried to slither out of getting accused of being a name dropper by claiming Bogart's adoption happened well before Suits aired, when in fact Suits premiered 6 months earlier than their supposed first meeting, and Ellen lets it go, she only does so in order to embarrass Meghan later in more terrifying ways.
We met, God, I don't know how many years ago. How long ago was that?
A long time ago, well before I was even on Suits. I think over a decade ago, maybe.
Right?
But we met at a pet shop.
Yes.
And I was going there to rescue a dog, and it was right around Christmas time, and you would come in at the same time, and you just looked at me and said, "Are you getting that dog? Get that dog. You have to take that dog home." I was like, "Well, if Ellen said I have to take the dog home, I'm getting the dog."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even, obviously I didn't know who you were. I just love people rescuing pets. So as soon as you were holding the dog, I was like, take it.
Take it. And I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, I did. I listened.
I love that.
As far as being a tasteless name dropper, we know she's still doing it, though her strategy has changed to reflect her situation. Back then, as a non-famous person, though ostensibly as someone in the public eye, she used the well-established Instagram and Twitter strategy of tagging and replying to stars that are so big they certainly have no idea who you are and wouldn't shout you out if you had met. Their shoutouts are worth a lot of money. You don't catfish the star this way. They probably have their account managed professionally anyhow. But you can trick advertisers and plebes into thinking you're higher up the celebrity food chain than you actually are. Meghan was genuinely not expecting to make a friend of Ellen. She was genuinely expecting to get away with the lie that she was an acquaintance of Ellen's and garner a bit of attention from companies eager to do SpawnCon with micro-influencers at a far lower rate than Ellen charges. So what do you think of Meghan's rise to fame? Do you believe she really changed, or do you think she was always like this? And she's still like this, nice to people out of necessity, but nothing more. I'm finishing up the Suits chapter tomorrow. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Toodles!